Hello everyone, I'm Little McGriddle, and welcome back to Zombie Exodus Safe Haven. Whatever. We're on to Chapter 3, and this is called The Road to Survival is Paved in Corpses. That's a pretty nasty road, if you ask me. I'd rather not go down it, but we have no choice. So, let's continue without any further interruptions. You awake with a start, eyes wide and sucking in a deep breath. Sweat coats your skin, and though you remember no nightmares, something feels off and unsettling. As you notice the blinking face of the small alarm clock on your dresser, you realize the electricity must have gone out overnight. With the power fluctuating, life will become even more complicated. Rising from bed, you feel rested, both mentally and physically. Still, a few more hours of sleep wouldn't hurt. You walk towards the bathroom, and as you move through the hallway, you see sunlight illuminating the hallway floor. You're instantly reminded of life's simple pleasures that you took for granted. The bathroom light flickers as you flip the switch, so you leave it off. At least with soap, you're able to clean up, wash off the dirt, and feel refreshed. It makes you feel a bit healthier. You get dressed and then head downstairs to start the day. A quick check of the house shows no damage and no break-ins. No deep tracks are dug into your front lawn, and blood is splattered across the trunk of the closest spruce tree. You walk into the kitchen and see the blinking 12 o'clock on the microwave clock, which confirms the power outage last night. You yank open the refrigerator door. The inside is dark and warm, of course, with no electricity for part of the night. The refrigerator lost its coldness. Normally a closed fridge would stay cold for a while, so the electricity must have been off for quite some time. As you look through the shelves and drawers, you smell some spoiled leftovers and do a quick count of what's left. 5 portions of food are still edible. Oh, that's no good. Make a typical breakfast. Why not? You're hungry, so making a normal meal with lots of protein and calories will help provide needed energy and lift your mood. You open several cans of beans and a package of frozen vegetables, along with the potato. You dice it all up with herbs and seasoning to make a hash. You fry up a package of bacon until crisp to go along with it. With breakfast over, you walk into the living room to plan your day. You happen to check your laptop and notice the battery meter shows it's empty. With no power in your house, you have to find a way to charge it. You check the time and it's 7:30 a.m. Wait, don't we already have a vehicle? Acquire a vehicle. We don't have a vehicle. Okay. You can never have too many. Wait, we already have a vehicle. We already have a vehicle, right? I made a mistake. Well, we're gonna go with the motorcycle, right? Because we got the pickup truck. Whoops, my mistake. The motorcycle is the most maneuverable of any readily available vehicle in the area. The main drawbacks are that it makes a lot of noise, which attracts attention, and offers little protection and durability. Do you choose the motorcycle? I wanted to look cool, but I guess not. What about the 4-door sedan? A rather average car, the sedan offers good maneuverability while being durable and providing space for numerous passengers. You choose the sedan? Yeah, why not? Having settled on the sedan, you search the area and luckily find the keys tucked into the wheel well. You drive the sedan back home and park it in your driveway. Well, okay. Now we have 2 vehicles. We should change clothes. I don't know. You head into your closet and put on hiking clothes? You dress in a thick shirt, rugged jeans, and a sturdy pair of hiking boots. You stare at yourself in the mirror and adjust your clothing. Somehow, about the act of putting on fresh clothes makes you feel confident and renewed. Now dressed, you close your closet door and head downstairs to the living room. Hey, hello. It's 8:15 a.m. Your phone rings, and seeing it's Jamie's number, you answer. Hey, Chloe, he says in a breathy voice, like he just yawned. Hello, you okay? I didn't get much sleep last night, so I just woke up. I stayed with those people I met, and we've been scavenging for supplies non-stop. They're not really my kind of people, though, so I'm going to split up with them as soon and come straight to you. Sounds good. One thing. Sorry, before I forget, I need to ask a favor. My cousin Moses is in Nightfall for a meeting that he was attending when this mess happened. He's stranded but happens to be nearby. I told him to stay at your place for a few days. I hope you don't mind. But there's nowhere else for him to go. Hotels are booked or closed. Shelters are overrun with people. He should be there soon. I promise he'll be no trouble. Well, I owe you big time. I should be at your place late tonight. What do you need me to bring? Could really use food. Or guns and ammo, a duffel bag, helmet and armor, handheld weapon, alcohol, cigarettes, camping gear, pair of glasses, medical supplies and medicine. Don't need anything special. Cleaning supplies for personal hygiene and clean up the house. Why worry about that? Because it's the zombie apocalypse. Construction supplies like wood and metal scraps. Guns and ammo. I don't know. Okay, we'll go with that. I may have a gun or two that I can bring, James says. Ammo is hard to come by, but I'll see what I can get. Also, I heard there's a store, Thelma's Convenience Store on Walnut. You know the place. It still has food and other goods for sale. Opens sometime in the afternoon, at least that's the rumor. Through the phone you hear sudden loud voices and the heavy strum of an automatic weapon. Jamie, is everything okay? Yeah, these fools I'm with are messing around with weapons like we have time for target practice. I better go, Jamie says, his voice dropping at the end. I'm real sorry for not getting there sooner. If you need me there, I need to be with a real friend. I'm going to leave and be there. The line disconnects before Jamie finishes. Oh no, Jamie! Okay. You check the time, it's 8:30 a.m. A knock comes from the back door, several quick knuckle raps. You slink from the sofa and tiptoe to the kitchen, cautious but curious. Pulling aside the curtain of the small window, you spot no one in the yard. Your eyes pan everywhere, up, down, and all around, but see nothing out of the ordinary, and certainly nothing capable of knocking. Is no one there? Another knock comes, and though you question your sanity, you're positive the sound was real. Several options come to mind, ignoring the knocks and walking away, peeking outside and waiting to spot the hand that knocks, or confronting whoever's out there. Hey in there, you hear. The voice is firm, friendly, and female. I know you're by the door. I'd be terribly sad to walk away if we hadn't had a chat. You ease the door open. Hello, Chloe, a woman says. She stands with her back to the side of the house, hands tucked snugly in the front pockets of her skinny jeans. She's tall and lithe, but wears a baggy t-shirt with the logo of the Two Turtles Tavern, a bar in the area, and a Rockies baseball cap. You see no weapons or gear and notice sandals on her feet. It's Rachel, Vince's cousin. You haven't seen her in months, maybe a year. She comes to visit him every so often, staying for weeks at a time, and often would greet you in passing. The relationship always remained neighborly, from collecting mail delivered to your house while you were on vacation to bringing over a tray of fresh-cooked brownies. Once she jump-started a dead battery in your car. What do you want? You say blankly. Not a cup of sugar, but I do want to talk. Mind if I come in? Seriously, no, I don't trust you. You know? Rachel drops her hands to her hips. I'd be happy to discuss all that if I were allowed in. I have matters of urgency to discuss. As you can see, I'm unarmed and not dressed for a home invasion, so you have nothing to fear. Now, zombies might be lurking about, so if you please. She raises her eyebrows and nods her head towards the doorway. You step aside and let her in. She has a bit of an accent, maybe British, and she slaps and shuffles her sandals as she walks. Just as long as you're not wearing socks with those sandals, then we're good. We're good. We can talk. She pulls her hat off and light brown hair falls just above her shoulders, appearing sharply cut at the ends. She shakes it and then folds it up in a bundle to place under the hat again, this time backwards. Sorry to show up unannounced, she says, leaning against the stove, her bony hip almost turning on a burner. So, how is Vince doing, you ask? Rachel tilts her head down to gaze at the floor. She stays this way for a moment, then looks up. Her expression is somber. Not sure. He left several weeks ago on an emergency business trip. He mentioned a matter of grave importance, and since he works for the CDC, I figured it was some outbreak of meningitis or such thing. Really, he was very hush-hush about his work. Now that I know about the Zeta virus, I can't be I can't but wonder if he was called away to deal with early cases. And he hasn't contacted you since? No, that's not unusual when he's on an assignment. He stays incommunicado for long periods. I've come to stay with him for a month or so at a time every year since the early 2000s. This happens all the time. But you never decided to question him about his line of work? You know, he could... No, I don't know. I'm not in the habit of interrogating family, no, Rachel says with a roll of her eyes. I didn't say interrogate, but you're not curious about the diseases and outbreaks he investigates? What does he do for the CDC? He told me he taught high school. Look, he's a private man, and I don't typically ask questions of people kind enough to open their homes to me. Am I curious? Quite. But when he asks for privacy, I gave it, 100%. Seems reasonable that Vince wouldn't have made his true profession public knowledge, but he should have trusted you more. So why are you here to see me? We're a few days into the outbreak and you're coming over now? Rachel runs her hands along the edge of the sink and stove, stands and paces the kitchen. I thought Vince would be back by now, or at least made contact. I fear that he won't. If the virus isn't controlled within the next few days, hell, within the next 24 hours, our way of life will never be the same again. To survive, we'll need to rely upon others. Vince has always spoken highly of you. It's time for us to plan for the future. He spoke highly of me? He always said you were a smart kid who knows how to take care of yourself. I've seen how you've handled things so far, and I'm impressed. That being said, I haven't seen your parents coming or going, so I thought I'd check up on you. Hearing this, you can't help but reply. Thanks for checking on me. That means a lot. What skills can you offer? Sure, ask her that. Rachel leans back and raises her eyebrows. To the point, I see, well, I should have prepared for a job interview. Firstly, I'm well-schooled in the reality television programs and have a knack for speaking my mind on all matters of politics, philosophy, and religion. I am above average at karaoke, which changes to exceptional the more pissed I get. Oh, that's wonderful. You're an excellent singer when you're pissed off? Same here, for some reason. Or when I get very emotional. Rachel folds her arms and her face takes on a more serious expression. More to the point, I'm a good judge of character and can tell someone's motive in an instant. I'm trustworthy and loyal to the point of risking my own well-being. I work well in a group but have the capacity to think on my own. And I have a will to survive in a world slowly becoming unlivable for humans. Rachel pauses and takes a deep breath and relaxes with a lean against the far wall. And I make a mean grilled cheese sandwich. You're hired, you're in. Just because of that, you can make mean grilled cheese sandwiches. She's my favorite now. Rachel walks across the kitchen to the window and peeks through the curtains. The dead are rising fast, and we don't have much time. We're in a race now to find a few people to count on. Hopefully we can start with each other. Okay, I want to believe you, but honestly I have some reservations about trusting someone I just met. I'd be happy to work with you. I say I'll make her believe we're allies for as long as she's useful to me. I'd rather survive on my own, at least for now. Sorry, but I don't believe you. I say this sounds like a trap. I want to believe you, but honestly I have some reservations about trusting someone I just met. 'Cause, yeah, we're not wrong to question that. Rachel smiles half-heartedly. Fair enough, I'd be suspicious too if I were you. I'm not too far away and realize trust is best earned through actions. I'll check in with you from time to time, and if you need anything, give me a ring for as long as our cells work. She takes out a slip of paper and places it on the kitchen table. You glance at the phone number. She walks to the back kitchen door. Thanks for the chat, she says as she opens the door and steps outside to the yard. The sky above is a few fluffy clouds hanging, with a backdrop of a powder blue. By the way, I have a few things I thought might be helpful. She steps to the side of your home where there lies a duffel bag, and she lifts it and hands it to you. Good luck. Give me a ring for anything. Oh boy. Rachel strides away across the yard and disappears behind the fence at the edge of your property. You close the door, heave the huffle bag over to the kitchen table, and unzip it. On top is a machete. Oh boy, a machete. Oh, lovely. Long and sharp and heavy. You take inventory of the rest of the bag as you unpack it. A 6-pack of bottled spring water, a few meals worth of non-perishable food, 10 units, a canteen, a flashlight, and a first aid kit. You place the food and water in cabinets and take the rest of the items to the inventory pile. Nice. You check the time and it's 9 o'clock a.m. Excellent. Let's check our gear. You walk over to your pile of gear and check your inventory. You have the following items: 9mm ammo magazines. You have 1. Alcohol 5, backpacks 1, bandages 4, batteries a pack 2, Beretta M9 pistols 1, blankets 3, canteens 2, cleavers 1, compound bows 1, crafting tools 1, duffel bags 1, electric parks 6, first aid kits, 2 kits with 14 total charges. Oh boy. Flashlights 2, folding fishing poles 1, food 12, glasses 1, GPS 1, hammers 1, knives 3, laptops 1, lighters 1 machete, we got a mechanic's tools, we got 8 mechanical parts, 1 multi-tool, painkillers, we got 10, portable cookware 1, shampoo bottles 3, we have 1 shovel, 1 sledgehammer, 1 shortwave radio, 1 smartphone, 2 soap bars, 1 roll of toilet paper. Oh boy, that's not going to last very well. 1 toothpaste tube, 26 water purifying tablets 1, and wood parts 3. Excellent. We also have our weapons, our cleaver and a compound bow. Still good with that. You check the time, it's 9:15 a.m. You peek through the window and spot a man at the front door. He stands perfectly straight like he's at attention in a military formation, but he looks far from being fresh out of service. His hair is shaggy and unkempt. He wears a bushy, untrimmed beard and his clothes are dull and faded, blue button-down shirt and blue jeans. With a braided leather belt and the brass buckle of someone named Comet Joe slung over one shoulder, he is carrying a backpack and he's holding a gym bag. The man leans forward, knocks, and tilts his head to look through the narrow slivers of glass decorating your front door. You unlock and open the door, keeping your body braced against it with the security chain still latched. "Hello?" you say to the man, more of a question than greeting. "Are you Chloe?" he asks in a gravelly voice. "I'm Woody, James' cousin." Even at a short distance away, the man has a strong body odor radiating from him. "Yes, but Jamie said his cousin Moses." "Dang it, I told him not to call me that," Woody says. His cheeks flush with anger and he stomps his foot. "Well, come in." You step aside and he walks in with a brisk, determined motion. Woody crosses farther into the room and scans from ceiling to floor, then left to right. "Okay, I see. You've got your supplies all in one location. Some damage to your home, but you have no real security to speak of. This place won't keep out a looter or the infected. The camera monitors are a fine addition to your overall security. All that said, I'm real glad to be here." Woody places his bags down by the sofa and takes out a wrapped sandwich from inside the gym bag. "Do you want a bologna and pepper jack sandwich?" "Oh, hell yeah. I'll take a bologna and pepper jack sandwich." Woody shuffles through his bag and finds another sandwich wrapped in wax paper. He hands it over and you take a bite. It's salty but peppery and the cheese has a smooth texture. "Thanks." You take another bite. "Make no mention of it," Woody says and takes a full corner bite of the sandwich, then turns it and shoves it in the next corner. "Okay, me, I love meat. If I was a pig, I'd be a cannibal." "That's good stuff. Okay." Your new guest finishes his meal and lets out an intense belch. Though it comes with an apology. "Anyway, I appreciate you letting me stay here. I won't be trouble. Can fix things up and keep it clean." "Well, that's good. It's 9:30. I don't know. Go to the convenience store." "Yeah, we'll totally do that." But we'll be leaving Woody here by himself. How about... Maybe we should just talk to Woody, find out more of him. Woody sits on the arm of the couch and positions a laptop upside down on his lap. From his back pocket, he takes out a screwdriver and unscrews the bottom panel. So, what's on your mind? Next you say... what do you do for a living? Sure, we'll start with that. Woody leans back on the couch and almost loses his balance. He catches an end table to steady himself. I'm a postdoc in anthropology at U of C, specializing in Native American social systems. Had just finalized my thesis right when this whole mess started. If you want to hear about my thesis, I'm happy to discuss it, but be prepared, I'm quite a yapper. Woody digs the end of the screwdriver into the laptop, elbow high in the air for leverage. Gritting his teeth, he twists the handle and the small tool flips out of his hand and rattles on the floor. Ow! He shouts and jams his thumb into his mouth. Daggone stupid piece of crap, that smarts. He takes his thumb out, and though it's not bleeding, the skin has a superficial cut. Mumbling under his breath, he bends, lifts up the screwdriver, and sets it back into the laptop case. We can chat while I work. It might look like I'm distracted, but it's all good. Ask me anything. Okay. What do you think we should do to improve our chances at survival? Sure. Darn, good question, Woody says, rubbing his chin through the thick beard. First, we secure this place and all its land. I'm not just saying the doors and windows, but out to the fence. Next, we gather supplies, focusing upon food, clean water, ammo, and fuel. They will all be commodities in the weeks and months to come. Now, there aren't as many people out here as in the city, but once all that stuff dries up, people will start stealing and robbing. Then we get out of here, far away, into the desert or high up in the mountains where there's few people. Our supplies will keep us alive while we hunt and plant food, only returning to the outskirts of statuary towns for scavenging. We can live indefinitely. And that's not to say it'll be easy living. To this you reply, you want me to leave everything and abandon my home? Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, I think it's foolish to think living here is a long-term solution, Woody says, his eyes wide like he's staring at the screen of a horror movie. Your house is nice and comfortable, but we're talking about a nightmare forming outside. Once the dead outnumber the living, once food runs out, and once people hit that stage where their primal selves return, no community will be safe. I've studied human evolution, the changes in society. When things break down, when fear and hunger takes over, and no one's enforcing the rules like police or governments, that's when human nature rears up. People will steal and hurt and kill in the name of self-preservation. It's just as soon as not being around when the type of society reforms. With the laptop now open, Woody removes a bundle of wires and a wallet-sized hard drive, balancing them on the end of the coffee table. He searches through his pockets and draws out a pair of pliers, which he uses to twist and pull a network card. Using so much force with his hand, Woody forces the pliers deep and punches a hole through the bottom of the case. Looks like I just installed an air vent, he says. Okay. What skills do you have? Sure. Woody tilts his head to one side and blows a gust of air. Let's see. I know a bit of lots of things, but maybe only a bit more about a few things. I grew up in the outdoors, fishing, hunting, camping. Was never one for hunting. While I was a good shot, I don't believe in killing animals for sport. Oh, you are my favorite person right now. I love you so much. Oh my god. Finally, someone else who has a heart for animals. How much of a challenge it is to draw out a mallard with a clacker, get it all hot and bothered like a female in heat, and then blast it with a shotgun? If you're going to eat the animal, and I mean from the gizzards to gonads, then by all means. Native Americans lived off the buffalo and used every ounce of it to feed and clothe whole families. That's respect for nature. Otherwise, I'll have no part of it. What else? I'm fairly adept at programming and using various software, mostly statistical packages for my work. I've got a master's in statistics and my PhD in anthropology. Not sure if those skills we can use in a zombie apocalypse. but if we have to rebuild civilization down the road, I can help with the planning. Woody digs one hand into the depths of the laptop and wiggles something too deep to see. Oops, I think I just popped with that whatchamacallit. Jane said you know your way around a computer. Part of the fun for me is trying new things and experimenting, even if I wind up breaking the thing. I'm not much of a crafter. I'm always interested in trying new things. Let's stay positive. Woody pauses and waves his pliers in the air as he speaks. We're kindred spirits, then. I'm always getting things, pulling them apart, and working to put them back together. The challenge and discovery motivates me. If things break, so be it. I'll get another. Woody flips the laptop over, scratches his chin, and hits a few buttons on the keyboard. When nothing happens, he shrugs and flips it back over to inspect the inner chamber again. Oh, well then. Hey, sure, why not? We should... Well, tell him to get... we'll talk about his thesis, because that's something interesting to know about. You want to hear about that? Well, get comfy. Okay, everyone, grab a comfy pillow, lay back, have some popcorn, get a drink. This is going to take a while. Woody says and settles into the couch. My graduate work in anthropology consisted of studying the two Ute tribes of Colorado. The Southern Utes and the Mountain Ute tribes since my mother had shacked up with Nahi. I got to learn about his people. The Southern Utes, they are really divided into two distinct groups, much like the rest of America. They have the haves and the have-nots. Nahi was a have-not. See, poverty among these people is not what we think of poverty. They have nothing and live off nothing, and what they do acquire, they share with people who have even less. Still, they're rich in spirit and community and history, and somehow they use it all to survive. He reaches into his backpack and takes out a plastic container of clear liquid. He pops the lid and drinks, spilling some into his beard. Don't worry, it's water. I don't drink alcohol. Seen what it's done to good people. Yeah, alcohol does bad things to good people. He pops the lid back on and returns the container to his bag. Where was I? Woody says, rubbing his chin through his beard. Oh, right. I was telling you about the spirit of my people. Oh, of the people. I was doing work on my thesis, Influences of Ute Mythology on Modern Culture. Let me know if you ever want to read it. Through my mom's boyfriend, Nahi. I was allowed to live among the Southern Ute outside of the La Plata on a reservation. At first, I lived with Nahi in his trailer, but it was cramped and smelled of hard-boiled eggs, which he'd eat a dozen of a day. A wonderful Ute woman, Shima, invited me to move into her home. The spirits had never blessed her with children, she said, and her siblings had all passed to the Great Plains beyond. She didn't want to live alone, and in trade I would put out her trash, clean the house, and take care of her yard work. We grew fond of one another, and I looked up to her as if she was a grandmother. Oh, he looked up to her as if she was a grandmother. Several months after I came to live with Shima, I came across a story in the tribe's library about a creature called the Wendigo. Ah, shit, damn. Oh, well, here we go. Oh boy, was not prepared to learn about the Wendigo. A vicious and horrid spirit that haunts dreams and curses people to damnation. Shima was wonderful as a storyteller, and so I asked her about it. At first, she was reluctant to talk about the myth. To speak of such things invites them in. She would say, after a few days of prodding and bribing her with Kit Kats, her favorite treat, she told me the myth. The Wendigo is a spirit of evil brought on by the greed and corruption of man, and it takes the shape of a gaunt and starving being, almost skeletal, with ragged features, pocked and diseased skin, and wearing the smell of death. It's said that the Wendigo causes those it touches to bear its corruption and crave the flesh of living people. I love the Wendigo. Woody rises from the couch and stretches his legs. His face wears a stern countenance, almost one of worry. A few passing moments he returns to the couch. I became interested in the Wendigo myth, and for a time it consumed my research. Native American scholars believe the myth was created as a parable by chieftains and elders of villages to dissuade their tribes, people from acts of depravity and the taboo. During times of famine, when villagers were starving and their hunger overcame their sensibilities, cannibalism was an escape. The Wendigo came along as a means to control the people, to make them afraid of the creature that would forever invade their dreams should they take to eating flesh. It was a myth that lived and breathed among the older Ute, and though they passed it on, the younger Ute brought it as a hokum to scare people out of the practices of their ancestors. My research got back on track after that digression. Months flew by and I became well-liked and even respected. And I don't say that to blow smoke up my own hole, but to establish that the Ute came to accept me as much as they could an outsider. It was one fateful event that turned into all to hell. It was the first time I saw living death. Ah. You shift on the sofa and stare up at Woody as he dabs the sweat off his brow with a handkerchief. The lines in his face are more pronounced and he's showing the tension you hear in his voice. About 4 months I'd been with the Southern Ute, and one night I wandered far from Shima's house into the mountains past La Plata, where the spruce and fir are thickest and all other manner of life fail to grow in plenty. Up past the river I never knew existed and have not located on the map, there lies a clearing with several structures older than modern construction, made in part of wood and part of packed dirt. There were 3 of them, 2 being as small as Nahi's trailer and just as wide, but one being as large as this home we're in now. I noticed movement in the larger building and spied through a window several elders of the Southern Ute, sitting on the floor around the fire pit. 6 men and 3 women. They wore the skins and paint of their forebears and chanted and passed a pipe in the scant light of that fire. And as I stood and watched, I could hear the smoke was mixing with the shadows to make apparitions in the air. Now, I'm a man of science and subscribe to no religion, but I can only describe what I saw as spirits. Believe me, I've theorized how these ghosts were made real, whether by trickery or some form of hallucination induced by the smoke. On my father's honor, I tell you my mind was clear before and after, leaving me to believe this was all real. As I watched the images dancing in the firelight, one of them rose, a man with the face paint of an owl, and he hunched over a table, upon which sat a wooden tray and a large ceramic bowl. With a long fork, he dug into the bowl and pulled up strands of meat, pink and plump with the white of fat and sinew still attached. A thin red liquid dripped from the meat as he laid it in a dish, and by the time he stopped, it was piled up to a healthy heap. The man left the back of the house and walked to one of the smaller trailer-sized buildings. He unlocked the door and entered the room into welcoming darkness. I went after him to find a way to see inside, but I couldn't find any windows or a way to enter besides that front door. And then I heard a growl of some creature so horrendous and powerful. I can still call it to mind in times of quiet. It was a thing of pure aggression, and the trailer shook on its foundation. And I'm not ashamed to admit that I found my feet ran back to the forest and didn't stop until I arrived at Shima's. And this is where the story turns darker. Woody reaches into his bag for a container of water, and as he brings it to his lips, it shakes in his hands and spills into his beard. I went back to the mountains and passed that river with no name the very next morning. I was still petrified from what I had experienced, but curiosity had taken me over, and I had to know what manner of beast could make that sound. Once in the clearing beyond the forest of spruce and fir, I moved to the small trailer from the night before and picked the lock. Fear held me outside that trailer for a while until the sun had made its way over the short building, and the shadow stood over me. Opening the door took courage, but once I stepped inside, the sounds of soft breathing piqued my curiosity again. The pale light from outside shone upon a man on the floor. He was covered in rags and wore his own soil and smelled of it too. His hair was long and matted, hands were dark and scabbed and misshapen, and his body was contorted. Thick chains were bound to his wrists and ankles, which were secured to a metal ring of slab on cement. Beside him sat an overturned dish with the scraps of meat from last night that Owl had brought in. From where I stood, maybe 6 feet away, I heard his soft murmur of sleep. But as I fetched around in my backpack for my camera, a noise emanated from the man of which I have never heard. Oh my god, okay. Okay, wait, so, the owl guy, he went into the trailer and gave, what I'm guessing this guy is a Wendigo or a zombie of some sorts, and he gave him the food, and he went all cray-cray. Anyway, continuing on. A slowly building gravelly moan that clicked in the back of his throat. He looked up, and what I saw was not a human face. Maybe it was before. He had the tan skin and features of the southern Ute, but he was gaunt with his sunken ashen-brown face and urine-colored eyes, which sunk in the sockets. His lips were dried, cracked, and bloody, and parts of them were missing, so I could see the white teeth beneath them. The stench of an open grave lingered around him, and it filled my nostrils. If I wanted to vomit, fear had petrified me to do nothing more than stand and stare. Then he suddenly leaped from the door, and hands raised and mouth craned wide like that of a biting snake. His chains snapped at the end of their length and drew his arms back. Still the man thrashed and pulled against his bind, stretching his limbs to the point of detachment. His mouth stayed open, and a milky drool slipped out and splattered on the floor, tongue darting in and out, waving like a tentacle. And that's when hands grabbed me from behind. I was taken by the shoulders and yanked from the trailer, my whole world spinning end over end until I landed in the dirt outside. Woody captures his water container, drops it in his backpack. He stares passively at the wall and wrings his hands as he continues. There stood Owl, who closed and locked the door that kept that fiend imprisoned. Owl turned on me, and though he wore none of his pain from the night prior, anger was all over his face. "Leave these lands, stranger," he yelled in a deep, hate-filled tone. "He who lays eyes upon the Wendigo is forever cursed." I wanted to reply to Owl, and he asked what he meant and asked what was wrong with that man inside, but I couldn't find my words. I stood and ran, hauling through the forest and blacked out on the path until I reached Shima's house and regained my senses. I slept that day, but prior to the night, Shima roused me from sleep. She had looked far worse than disappointment and spoke little except order for me from her house. I asked why, but she refused to talk and demanded I go. Oh wait, hold on. I'm getting too far ahead of myself. I was just going to say something, but I'm going to continue on. I hardly had time to grab my belongings, and already a crowd had formed outside her home. And though I didn't know what crime I had committed against these people, I realized later that I had seen things unallowed and had broken an unspoken trust. As I left the reservation, no one spoke a word to me, but I heard murmurs from the crowd. A single word. Wendigo. Woody cups his hands together and sucks in a deep breath of air. He cracks his knuckles and rolls his head in a circle to stretch his neck. That's the end of that story. I haven't told a soul about it, and prior to the outbreak, no one would have believed me. Now it don't seem so far-fetched. Whew. Wow. Okay then. That was a pretty damn intense story, and I think that is a really good way to end the episode. Sorry if it's a cliffhanger for you guys. I will pick this up soon, and hopefully you're enjoying this. If you are, hit that button down below, and like always, I will catch you all in the next video. Stay awesome. Bye.